My husband cheated on me with my best friend. I've replayed this moment in my head 1,000 times. How it began, how I missed the signs, and how somehow I'm still breathing after it all. My name is Claire. I'm 31, mother of two. Hannah is 7, Eli is 5, and 6 months pregnant with my third. If you're listening to this, maybe you know how a life ends without a single visible explosion. Only a quiet fracture that begins with a vibration on a nightstand and a message shaped like a knife. It was a Tuesday morning, the kind with a pale sky that looks like a face trying not to cry. Eli had a fever. Dad, my dad, had forgotten whether he'd already brushed his teeth and asked me why 2 toothbrushes sat in one cup, one blue, one green. I told him we like options, and he grinned like a boy. Daniel's alarm buzzed against the wood. He swiped it, groaned, and rolled over. Worked late, he mumbled, taking the morning. As I reached to silence his backup alarms, he sets 3. He says 1 is a liar. I saw it. A preview on the lock screen, Rachel's name in a bubble. I'm assuming since there hasn't been an angry pregnant lady on my doorstep, you haven't told her about us yet. Time didn't stop. Time got louder. I heard the kettle's rising scream and Eli's cough and Dad humming the wrong verse of an old song and my own breath counting out seconds. 1, 2, 3. You're okay. 4, 5, 6. No, you're not. I didn't open the phone right away. I made tea. I tucked a blanket around Eli. I kissed Dad's forehead and told him the coffee would be ready soon. I stacked pancakes for Hannah the way she likes them, with a little face made of blueberries. I moved through the room like a ghost wearing my body. Then I opened the phone. 4 months of messages. God, I miss you. Keep the receipt so we can say it was a meeting. You looked so beautiful today. Did she notice you changed your hair? I scrolled so long, my hand went numb. My baby rolled beneath my ribs like she knew exactly what I just learned and wanted out, wanted air, wanted a world without this. When Daniel finally stirred, he kissed my temple and asked, "How's our little guy?" Like he hadn't just been laughing with the woman who once braided my hair for prom. I didn't confront him that morning. I smoothed my hair in the bathroom mirror and watched myself lie to my own face. Because that day was not about me. It was about Dad's hospice intake and Eli's fever and the life inside me who didn't ask for any of this. I started a list, the kind of list that saves you when your heart can't. Screenshots, lawyer, Dad's paperwork, kids' schedules, spare cash, spare clothes. When I called my lawyer, she was steady. "You are not crazy," she said. "You are not overreacting. Gather everything. Don't confront yet. Protect your peace. It sounded like a bridge too far and a memory at the same time. Later, I called 2 women who had always been more than titles to me. Angie, Rachel's mom, Nora, my mother-in-law. "Come to Dad's," I said. "Please?" At Dad's kitchen table, the one with the coffee rings that will outlive us all, I slid the phone toward them. Angie went paper white, then gray. Nora pressed her fingers to her mouth so hard the knuckles blanched. "My daughter," Angie whispered. "My God." She kept shaking her head, as if she could wake herself from a dream. "Claire, There aren't words. Nora's voice was low and flint-sharp. "You are my family." She lifted her eyes to mine and held them there. "As far as I'm concerned, I no longer have a son, only a daughter." We cried. 3 women with too many years behind them to pretend tears don't matter. Then we stood up, washed our faces, and started building a plan. 48 hours later, an email itched at my phone. A fraud alert on our joint card. Not fraud, as it turned out. Granville Harbor Hotel, line item, business lounge and day room. The date matched one of their message threads like two halves of the same lie. I took a photo of the charge. I sent it to my lawyer. Public place is safest if you want to confirm, she replied. If you go at all, don't go alone. I stared at the words Granville Harbor Hotel until letters became shapes, and shapes became a hallway I could walk down. That night, I watched Daniel set out his navy blazer. He said the team was driving in from another office for quarterly reviews. His voice was the exact temperature of normal. If lies had heat, I couldn't feel it. That almost broke me more than the messages. I laid in bed and counted the tiny fluorescent dots on the smoke alarm because counting anything was easier than counting the ways a life can go wrong. At 7:20 the next morning, I packed Dad's crossword book, snacks for the kids, and a worn-out blanket that smelled like sunscreen and summers ago. I told Daniel I'd be at Dad's, maybe the park. He kissed the top of my head and said, "You're my whole world." I wanted to say, "You must enjoy having multiple planets." Instead, I smiled the way women smile when they are buying time. Luke, Rachel's older brother, pulled up in his trusty old pickup at 9:05. He didn't ask questions. His hands were steady on the wheel, and he drove like roads are a promise you can keep. "Stay in the car unless I text," I told him. Eyes on the hotel entrance. "I'll be here," he said. No hero speeches, just presence, like a warm coat. I watched the Granville's revolving door cut the morning into clean slices. Business people drifted through, laptop bags, espresso cups, shoes that click on marble. My heart counted 1, 2, 3. At 10:41, Daniel's car eased to the curb. He stepped out, phone to his ear, and smoothed his jacket. A minute later, she appeared from a rideshare. Rachel, in a stone-colored coat and a scarf I'd lent her last winter, when she said she couldn't find hers. She didn't look around. She walked like a person who believed the world owed her corridors. They didn't touch. They didn't need to. The space between them was a string I could see. I texted Luke, "Stay. I'm going in." "Claire," he started, but the message was blue and gone. The lobby smelled like green apples and cool money. A fountain whispered to itself. I kept a few paces back as they approached the elevators, my belly in front like a flag I didn't volunteer to carry into battle. The elevator doors slid shut on their backs. I stared at the brass panel. The screen flashed 12, then R, then 7. Then back to 12, a repeating dance. My stomach rolled. I pressed 12. The carpet on 12 looked expensive and bored. I smelled clove cleaner and something floral. At the end of the hall, a door clicked, a murmur, a hush. I didn't sprint. I didn't collapse. I walked until the air changed as if the hallway itself held its breath. I stopped 2 doors down and pressed my palm to the wall, like it might give me answers. The vent hummed. My baby turned and then stilled, waiting with me, and then footsteps. A laugh I knew too well, low and private and not meant for anyone else. The door at 12:16 opened a sliver, and Rachel's hand, my friend's hand, reached out to tug Daniel back by his tie the way you might pull a man into a kiss. My throat closed. My eyes did not. I saw everything too clearly. "Room service?" a voice down the corridor asked, and a cart squeaked past. The door shut again. I stood very still while the world shifted 10 degrees to the left. I could have left then. I could have carried my proof like a weapon and walked away. But there was a part of me that needed the reality to pierce the fantasy cleanly. I needed them to see me, to see the shape of what they'd broken. I stepped forward and knocked. Once, twice, calmly, like a person who belongs everywhere. Silence, then whispering. Then the chain slid and the door cracked. Rachel's face appeared first, pale, eyes blown wide. Claire, she breathed, like my name was a miracle or a horror movie. Open the door, I said. She hesitated. Daniel's shadow loomed behind her. I saw the edge of his blazer, the tie I'd ironed last month, on a morning we were still pretending. Claire, Daniel said, then louder, like volume would buy time. Claire, what are you? Open! The door. The chain rattled, the doors swung, and there they were. Two people I loved, arranged like a picture I would never be able to unhang in my mind. The room smelled like coffee and citrus soap. A second coffee cup sat on the desk, lipstick faint at the rim. The bed was made the way they do in nice hotels, tight corners and judgmental pillows, immaculate and accusing. Betrayal leaves crumbs even when it thinks it doesn't. I didn't step in. I planted myself in the doorway, like a threshold that had decided to grow teeth. How long? I asked. Daniel glanced at Rachel, then back at me. 4 months, he said. Truth, at least. Bleated from him like a frightened animal. How many times? He swallowed. I don't. He stopped. More than once. Do you love her? I asked, because some wounds are cleaner when you name them. He winced. It's Claire, it's not like that. I was lonely. You were. Rachel flinched, a small motion. But I saw it. Don't, she whispered to him. Don't say that. Don't worry, I said, eyes on Rachel. He won't get the loneliness speech. I've already heard it in every chore I did alone while my father forgot my name. Rachel's eyes filled. Claire, I'm sorry, I supplied. You don't get that word. If you wanted it, you had 4 Monday mornings and 11 hotel elevators and 100 empty I miss yous to say it. Daniel reached a hand toward me. The motion felt obscene or holy or just stupid. I stepped back. The hallway air was cleaner than the room's. I'm leaving, I said. I have screenshots. I have your hotel receipt. I have a lawyer. You'll hear from her. Can we talk? Daniel pleaded. Somewhere private. This is where you made it public, I said, by choosing a public place. By choosing to risk being seen, because the thrill was better than the truth Rachel wiped at her face like she could erase herself back to 5 minutes ago. Please don't tell my mom, she whispered, small and childish and cruelly late. She already knows, I said. She cried on my kitchen table. Rachel stumbled back like I'd pushed her. Daniel closed his eyes. Claire, he said softly, I'm sorry. I hope you are, I answered. I hope you're so sorry it wakes you up at 4 a.m. for the next decade. I hope you carry it into every room so you remember to be better than this. But I don't believe sorry makes you safe. I turned and walked, the carpet swallowing my steps. I pressed the elevator button with a finger that felt both heavy and precise. The doors slid open, and I saw my reflection. A woman with salt on her cheeks and a baby beneath her heart, and a line drawn in permanent ink where her hallway ends. Goodbye, Daniel, I said, not turning. Claire, he said again, like a prayer or a curse or a word without meaning. The doors closed on his mouth, shaping it. I didn't run. I didn't fall. I stepped outside into a world that had the audacity to keep being the same. Luke was waiting in the truck. He didn't ask. He handed me water. I took it. My hands were steady now. It surprised me. The steadiness felt like a new bone growing. We didn't go home. We went to Dad's cabin by the lake. the one that smells like cedar in old summers. The kids fell asleep on the drive, heads knocking together. Dad sang harmony to a song only he could hear. At the cabin, Luke carried Eli. I carried Hannah. Dad carried the bag of snacks like it was a treasure. We laid the kids on the old quilt in the back room where the afternoon light wears lace. On the porch, the wind braided itself with the pines, and I let my body do the crying my mind had scheduled and canceled too many times. That evening, Nora called. Her voice was tired and iron at once. "It's done," she said. He didn't deny. He tried to explain, but there aren't words for this. I told him I love him, and I choose you. I sat on the steps, wood warm under my palms. "What do I do tomorrow?" I asked, because losing the map is the worst part. "You make cereal," she said. "You call your lawyer. You breathe, then you do it again." Angie texted too. "I am so sorry. I can't defend her. I won't try. Please let me help with the kids." I cried again, at that, the kind of tears that make room inside your chest. Later, under a sky the color of clean slate, I wrote a letter I didn't send. "Dear Rachel, I won't speak to you again. I won't scream. That is a kindness to both of us. I hope you one day hold something so fragile you learn how to move through the world without breaking it. I hope you become someone I would have trusted with my children. It's too late to be that for me." I folded the paper into a square, then smaller, and then I tucked it behind a loose board on the porch. Some words were never meant to travel. The week after the hotel moved like a chess game, precise, inevitable, unfun. My lawyer was the right mix of sharp and soft. We changed passwords. We put stops on joint accounts. We filed. We documented. We breathed between tasks like divers. Daniel moved out. He cried so hard I thought he might choke on it. "I made a mistake," he kept saying. "I'm sorry. I love you. I love the kids. I love—" He didn't finish the sentence, and in the silence was the rest of the list. "I love the person I thought I was. I love the easy version of our life. I love how she made me feel like I'm 22 again and not a father with a mortgage and a wife whose father is fading." "You should have thought about that before you built a second life," I said. It came out without venom. There was nothing left to poison. "Don't take the kids from me," he whispered, pressing his hands together like a man praying to a god he's already angered. "I won't," I said. "You will always be their father, but you will never be my husband again." He nodded, because sometimes the most adult thing we do is accept the size of the hole we dug. He found a small apartment near the office. He asked if he could bring the kids to see it. I said yes. I helped the children pack their little suitcases and slipped their favorite stuffed animals into the top where he'd find them. And know I still care about the parts of him that are good. Rachel texted once from a number that wasn't saved in my phone. "You were always the better friend." I blocked it. I didn't need her confession. I already had mine. I deserved better friends than her, and better love than him. Angie kept coming by with casseroles and practical mercy. "I can take the kids to the park," she'd say, and then, under her breath, like a woman who was allowed one small superstition, "I'm sorry." I hugged her, because a mother is not her grown child's crimes. Nora became my lamp. She changed light bulbs and stood in grocery lines with me and sat on the edge of my bathtub while I cried in the shower. "You are not alone," she repeated, a vow more than a reassurance. Dad had good days, and days where the memory missing felt like unplugged lamps in a familiar room. On a good day, he said, "Kiddo, you look tired." and I laughed so hard I startled myself. I am, I told him, but I'm here. His hand found mine, and even when he didn't know the month, he knew the shape of my fingers. Telling the children is a sacred, careful thing. Mom? Hannah asked one night, the kind of careful voice kids use when they've been practicing in their head. Are you and Daddy mad? I closed the book and placed it on my knee. We're sad, I said, because kids can smell lies the way dogs smell storms. We're sad because we made some mistakes. Grown up mistakes. But Daddy and I both love you so much. That doesn't change. Are you getting a divorce? She asked, the word big and clumsy in her mouth. I could have stalled. I could have asked where she'd learned the word. I didn't. Yes, sweetheart, I said softly. But divorce means we live in two houses, not two families. She chewed her lip the way I do. Will Daddy still read the dragon book? Every time you're with him, I answered. And you can FaceTime the dragon book on the nights you're here. She nodded, making terms with a new world. Eli climbed into my lap and announced, I'm a couch. He is not. He is a person who can fix sadness for approximately 40 seconds at a time with his warm weight. That night, when they slept, I sat in the quiet and wrote myself a list of small promises. I will tell the truth kindly. I will hold boundaries like life preservers. I will not use my kids to carry my grief. I will remember that my worth is not a vote strangers cast. A month after the hotel, he asked to meet for coffee. My lawyer said I didn't owe him that. I went anyway. I had my reasons. I wanted to test my sea legs in the place we used to be soft. He stood when I arrived, then sat, because we aren't that anymore. His eyes were red at the edges. He looked like a painting that had been rained on. I don't expect forgiveness, he said, by way of hello. I just want you to know I'm in therapy. I am going to be a father they can be proud of. You should have been that already, I said, and it came out gentle. Not because he deserved gentleness, but because I refused to be mean to feel powerful. He nodded, a man learning the language of ownership. I will spend the rest of my life regretting this and correcting what made me possible of it. Good, I said. Do that for them, for yourself, not for me. He reached for the sugar and then stopped. Like every small motion around me needed permission now. You were my home, he whispered. You burned it down, I said. I hope you build something worthy where you are now. Not for us, for you. We parted like two people at a train station who understand only one of them is boarding. Outside, the air smelled like rain and bread. I stood on the sidewalk and let the world be ordinary around me, because ordinariness is a kind of miracle too. Paperwork, therapy, and the slow art of a steady morning divorce papers are oddly ugly for something that changes everything. There's no poetry to their language, just boxes and stamps and check marks that look like birds without wings. We signed, we returned, we waited. We became a statistic without a headline. While the courts were doing their slow dance, my days relearned rhythm. Pancakes on Mondays, dad on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Homework at the kitchen table where the late sun makes shapes on the wall, and Hannah pretends they're countries, and Eli insists they're dinosaurs. Sometimes I cried in the laundry room, sometimes in the shower, sometimes in the car, while a red light held me in place and a song I used to love hurt for a minute and then didn't. I started therapy because strong is a story and healing is a practice. My therapist, Lila, asked questions that felt like keys. What hurt most? The ease, The normalcy. What are you afraid won't grow back? Trust in my instincts. My softness. What do you want to keep? My tenderness. My children's laughter. My father's hand warm in mine on the porch while the light leaves the day. I told her about the hotel and the apples in the bowl, and how I thought for one idiotic second about stealing an apple on principle. She smiled. Of course you did, she said. You wanted a souvenir from the worst museum. We laughed. It felt like a muscle remembering its job. Dad, the lake, and the letter I didn't send. There are evenings when the lake behind Dad's cabin turns the exact color of forgiveness. Not because it forgets what the shore has done to it, eroded it, contained it, but because it keeps returning anyway, lapping at the same line, patient and relentless. On one of those evenings, Dad called me by my mother's name and then apologized, even though I told him he didn't need to. You look beautiful, kiddo, he said, eyes clear for the span of a breath. I am okay, I told him, and realized I meant it for the first time. We watched the kids catch fireflies in mason jars and bargain with them like bankers. Just till bedtime, Hannah promised. Then you can go. The porch board still holds the letter to Rachel. It swells when it rains and shrinks in the heat. I like knowing my unsent words live in wood instead of plastic. I like knowing some things wrought into the earth on purpose. The divorce decree came by email, a PDF, a number, an official stamp, anticlimactic and holy. I didn't print it. I didn't toast it. I made spaghetti and garlic bread, and we ate too much at the table with its coffee rings. And when the cheap paper star garland fell from the light fixture, Eli said, "It's okay, we can tape it again." And Hannah said, "Or we can hang a new one." And I thought, exactly. That night, we began a ritual. We stand at the window and look for the first star. My son always sees it first because he believes he does. My daughter claims the second because she likes being next. I tell them stars are old, light traveling a long way to find us. We press our palms to the glass and pretend we can feel it arrive. After they sleep, I load the dishwasher the right way and laugh about it to no one. I text Nora a heart, Angie a thank you, Luke a photo of the kids holding up lopsided cookies that taste like bakery mistakes, and love. I sit on the couch and realize the quiet is no longer a void. It's a room with a window and a chair and a name. It's mine. If you're listening because you're where I was, maybe you're in your bathroom with your partner's phone because the way they smiled at it made your stomach tilt. Maybe you found the hotel receipt and told yourself a story so you could sleep. Maybe your best friend's name sits on a screen like a bruise you can't stop pressing. Listen to me. You are not foolish for trusting. You are not weak for staying long enough to plan your leaving. You are not vindictive for drawing a line. You do not owe your pain a performance. I followed them to a hotel. I stood in a doorway that had seen 100 check-ins and 1,000 confessions, and I asked the questions in a voice I didn't know I had. I did not scream. I did not shatter glassware. I did not become a woman I didn't recognize to hold on to a man who had already let go. I left. I chose my children and my father and my own heartbeat thudding like a fist against a locked door finally opening. I chose therapy. I chose pancakes. I chose the lake and old songs and the way Nora says we when she means you. So I can borrow her strength without feeling like I owe it back. I still believe in love, but I believe in the kind that shows up with its sleeves rolled. That tells the truth when the lie is easier. That holds the heavy end of the couch without being asked. That knows loneliness is not an excuse to be cruel. If you're standing in your own lobby, literal or not, between a fountain and a bowl of green apples, staring at the people who made choices you didn't deserve, take the elevator. Don't run. Don't perform. Draw your line. Step in. Let the doors close. Walk out into a day that has the audacity to be the same and make it new with the smallest, bravest acts you can manage. Cereal first, lawyer second, breath in, breath out again. Some storms don't come to drown you. They come to shake the rotten fruit from the tree so the branches can breathe. I didn't lose a husband. I lost a liar. I didn't lose a friend. I lost a coward. What I kept is more important. A house where laughter returns like birds, a father's warm hand on a good day, two children who know love is a verb, and a woman in the mirror who no longer questions her reflection. The first star is out. The kids are asleep. My belly is round with the future. I press my palm to the glass and catch the old light. It presses back. And for the first time in a long time, I press forward.